They were called the Konketsuji, literally children of mixed blood, born in Japan in the aftermath of the Second World War. For 7 years after the Japanese surrender, the archipelago was occupied by the United States. Hundreds of thousands of GIs were stationed there. Many had relationships with Japanese women. Rapes also committed. Some 45,000 Americans married and bought their wives to live in the US.
Americans and their Japanese brides-to-be arrive at the Yokohama consulate to register for marriage. Don Murray of Texas and Miss Teruko Ito.
But there are also many Japanese women who were abandoned by American soldiers departing again for home. Some even left pregnant. As single mothers who'd slept with the occupying forces, they were ostracised from society. In desperation, some decided to abandon their mixed-race babies. To save their lives, other Japanese even started foster homes. Today, almost 80 years later, many of the children still flourish and have managed to find their place in Japanese society. Well, our correspondents have met with some of them in Japan, but also in the US. Alexis Breger, Constantin Simon and Arona Popuri with Justin McCurry revisit the once abandoned children for France 24.
This is a place that Paul and other abandoned children will never forget.
We are so terrified of this dark tunnel. We used to have a 100-meter dash, from... Yes.
This is where he and other Japanese American children were left by their families.
The parents would arrive in front of the tunnel and instruct their children to run to the other end. By the time the children had reached the other end and turned around, their parents had disappeared. There were hourly patrols at night to check if any children had been left there.
This tunnel led to the entrance of the Elizabeth Saunders home. The facility took in 2,000 children like Paul and Yuko after World War II. Now US citizens, they've returned to Japan to the city of Oiso, a couple of hours from Tokyo.
Lots of memories come flooding back. I always remember Mrs. Sawada, or Mama-chama, we called her, sitting here looking out at the field. We were always playing out in the garden. It was a fun time.
And we broke so many glasses here. So she used to come out and say, "Who did that?" Yeah.
She kept it hard, yeah.
Yeah. We got reprimanded, yeah.
She was strict?
Very strict,
Very
yeah.
strict.
After its defeat, Japan remained under US occupation for 7 years. During that time, unions between GIs and local women resulted in the births of mixed-race children. The Elizabeth Saunders home became a haven for those who were abandoned, a contrast to the discrimination they faced outside.
Well, we used to fight with the kids from outside, We used to fight with them because they call us Americans, Oh, we're Americans! But we didn't like that then, We didn't know we are different looking because 150 kids here, we all look alike, look like half bloody kids. We are very strong, We beat them up pretty good. Until they brought, high school kids, they're brothers, big brothers, and they beat us up pretty good.
We all grew up equal here without any prejudice. We had all kinds of skin colours here.
While Paul and Yuko live in the US, 61-year-old Masao still lives near the children's home in Oiso.
At that time, there was nothing in Japan. Everything was burnt down, and the country had to be rebuilt from scratch. The biggest problem was food. People didn't accept us. We couldn't even go swimming on Oiso Beach. They would throw stones at us or tell us to leave the country. So the director of the facility decided to take us to her vacation home.
Masao visits this house in Tottori, 500 kilometers from Oiso, once a year with other former residents of the children's home.
Hello, Mama Chama.
Mama Chama, an affectionate term for mum, was Miki Sawada, the home's director and a source of love and comfort at a traumatic time in their young lives.
We would all sleep here side by side. It was like this, wasn't it? Sometimes we would have too much fun and Mama Chama had to intervene.
Sawada came from a wealthy family and was the granddaughter of the founder of the conglomerate Mitsubishi. She dedicated her life to these ostracized children, securing funding and support from around the world. She was moved to help them by a disturbing episode.
One day after the war, she was on a train and found a package. Inside was a black baby. It was dead. The police even suspected that Mama Chama was the mother and had tried to abandon it.
The baby was mixed race, most likely the child of an American soldier and a Japanese woman. These children of the occupation and their mothers became symbols of shame in post-war Japan.
Mama Chama loved me. She was a true mother to me. I'm so grateful to her. I would have liked to thank her again and again. She would always support me and say, even if someone says something, don't worry about it. Be proud of yourself and live your life.
Masao never thought of looking for his real mother, even less of crossing the Pacific Ocean in search of his biological father. But on the other side of the globe, one abandoned child from the home in Oiso has decided to try to trace his origins. Born in Japan, Tony was just 18 months old when, in 1956, he was adopted by a family in the United States.
I remember my doctor at the time told my mother when I came from Japan that I would never weigh over 125 pounds. And so my mother said, we'll see about that. And she started feeding me some protein and making me milkshakes. And I grew and I grew and I got bigger and stronger. And then ultimately, I got a football scholarship to play football.
Tony married, but he spent his entire life in the dark about his biological parents.
You know, I really want to know who my real mother and father were. My wife said, look, there's a genetic test out called 23andMe. I said, yeah, let's do that.
A few months ago, the test result proved that his DNA is a very close match to this woman.
Hello.
Ariel.
Oh my goodness.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
It's good to see you.
Tony then discovered something that would change his life. Ariel's grandmother was a Japanese woman who had migrated to the United States. The woman, who has since died, has been confirmed as Tony's biological mother.
We're excited that you're here and happy that we found you. And yeah, again, just moving forward is the most important part.
Yeah, like how we do that, right? Yeah, sorry.
And you want to know, I found some more pictures. These are from right around 91, maybe 92. She would have been in her, let's see, mid-50s.
There's a resemblance between her and I. How big was she?
Oh, she was tiny. She was maybe 100 pounds at the very most.
Really?
And she liked to eat. Let me tell you that.
So does her son.
Yeah.
We got this.
Tony's mother married an American who is not Tony's father. In 1958, she settled in the United States and started a new family. Tony has also found out that he has 2 half-sisters, a family he never knew existed. His father is the missing piece of the puzzle. All he knows is that most American men who were in Japan after the war belonged to the military.
This is the document that was used for my entry into the Elizabeth Saunders home, listing who my mother was and where her address, who she was. It's just surrealistic, surrealistic. It doesn't, you're trying to put 2 and 2 together and you've lived your whole life not knowing. And so, yeah, it means a lot. I would have given the world to meet her. I don't hold any bad feelings or animosity. I love her.
Tony is adamant that his mother was not at fault, believing that she was the victim of post-war racism in Japan that placed unbearable pressure on her and her child. Back in Japan, we meet Masao, who was sheltered from discrimination by the children's home. When he left the home, he found a society that was fascinated by American pop culture, but which also harboured suspicion of foreigners that sometimes bordered on hostility. After doing odd jobs for decades, he now repairs air conditioners for a living.
Hey Masao, it's been such a long time.
Yes, that's true.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Thanks for coming.
So it's here that you want to get the AC installed?
Masao's physical appearance means he's had unpleasant experiences with clients.
Frankly, I speak Japanese perfectly, but when they see me, I look like a foreigner at first glance. People's impressions are a barrier sometimes. Once I told a skeptical client, "Close your eyes, please, and listen to my voice." He listened to me and finally accepted me, saying, "It's true, I don't see any difference."
Masao has always been a happy guy. He always looks on the bright side of life and doesn't complain. We've never talked about it together, right? In any case, I could sense his pain. And because he's a friend, it makes me sad that he had to go through that experience.
Even now, people of mixed heritage continue to experience discrimination. Even in parts of Japan with large populations of foreign residents. Okinawa, a group of islands in Japan's far southwest, is home to 3/4 of US military bases in the country. Here, relationships between US servicemen and local women are common. This school in Japan is unusual in that it accepts only mixed-race children.
Let's sing it. January,
Jaden is 12. His father has returned to the United States, but he stayed in Okinawa, where he lives with his mother.
It's true that sometimes I find myself in irritating situations. I was born in Japan, so for me it's normal to speak in Japanese. But I look like an English speaker, so people often speak to me in English, and I don't like that. I would like to be considered Japanese. I am a mixed-race child, so my 2 languages are my mother tongues. When I am with other mixed-race kids like me, they don't make the same mistakes, so I feel better.
The school's principal, Tsukasa Nakada, says Japan's education system is more welcoming towards mixed-race children, but still has some way to go before being fully integrated.
There have always been lots of mixed-race children in Okinawa, so there's less prejudice here. After World War II, there was hatred everywhere, but that is in the past.
Attitudes are changing fast. In 2022, Japan's foreign population rose above 3 million for the first time. Many are workers who are needed to address a chronic labour shortage. Some will have relationships with Japanese people and perhaps start families. Masao and other konketsuji can only hope that the country of their birth does not repeat the mistakes of the past.
Alexis Brangin, Constantine Simon and Arona Pupuri with Justin McCurry revisiting the once abandoned children for France 24. Well, that's all from this week. You can catch all the editions again on our website at france24.com. Thanks for watching.